Hello, everybody. Kimberly Maskey here. Kimberly Maskey Pape, actually, here, and your fearless leader in spiritual biz success. And I had a question, and it's a kind of a realization I've had lately. So I thought I'd check in with you guys and see, are you wondering how to even become a spiritual coach to be able to share your gifts? So I find it really interesting because I'm always talking about building your business, building your business, building your business, which you should be because that's your vehicle to serve, right? Building your spiritual business is the vehicle in which to serve. But I've also come to the realization that a lot of you guys out there actually just don't even know how to become a spiritual coach. And so I had this aha that we might be missing a piece of the puzzle. And so I'm kind of checking in with you guys. This is a check-in moment. Like, are you wondering how to become a spiritual coach? Like, it's different than building the business, right? When you're building the business, I can give you all of those steps. But what's interesting is that even if I gave you all of the steps, if you're not in alignment with who you're serving or you don't know how to actually coach, then the business part doesn't work. And so I was curious about you guys, if you wanted to post a comment in there about how many of you guys are actually just wondering, like, how do you become a coach? What are those steps? So let's talk about that a little bit so you can get some guidance. So one of the first things about becoming an actual coach. So first, I would say you need to have awakened, right? You need to have gone through your awakening process, because as you've gone through your awakening process, you can know for a fact whether or not, like, where you've been and where you're going, right? So when we know where we've been and where we're going, we can help people do that arc. It's like we'll call it a healing arc, right? You're in this place to begin with, and then you want to be at this place at the end. And if you've gone through some amazing awakening, which I say amazing kind of tongue in cheek because we know the awakening process is never actually that fun. But when you have gone through your awakening process, you now know what you're going to teach. That's why you went through the awakening process. All of those experiences, that whole dark night of the soul and everything, that's what you're going to use to teach. So that's that very piece of the whole puzzle, actually, is what you're teaching. And then most of you, having gone through your awakening process, also have your modalities that you've acquired, because I'm sure you've worked with many spiritual coaches. So as you work with each coach, you get new lessons, you got new modalities, you're certified in different modes of healing. You've got all this information. And so when you have all this information, now you're going to take that information, you're going to combine it with your awakening process, all of the things that you've gone through for healing. As you go through that arc, you're going to take all of those lessons that you learned, and then you're going to be able to use those lessons to then coach. That's like the core of coaching. That's the basis. And so when you've had this big aha moment, and I know at the moment of the awakening and everything that you're going through, it may not seem very exciting, but when you come out on the other side, that's actually how you begin to coach. And that's kind of the really crux of it all, is that you're awakening, and the lessons you learned are the foundation for learning how to be a spiritual coach. And it's interesting because as people come into Spiritual Biz Bootcamp, they're like, I don't know what I'm teaching. And it's this missing piece of who you're serving. Because I talk about the soul connection with your tribe. I talk about that, knowing who they are. And that is a huge piece of it, especially from a marketing standpoint. But what you're teaching and how you teach, that's what makes you really successful. Because again, I can teach you all the business stuff, but if you're not sure how to actually teach that, then it's going to hold you up. So the key to knowing how to become a spiritual coach, the first steps is really to look at your awakening process, because that awakening happens so that you can learn. That awakening happens so that you can go out and begin to shift other lives, because you now have the experience. And then the second piece of that is once you know that, you've got to take your clients through that arc, that same arc, looking at your awakening and looking at the pieces of what you learned and taking those pieces and turning them into your actual coaching process. That's the connection that you're looking for. That's how you become, those are the basics of becoming a spiritual coach. And so that's when you're thinking about it, you're like, what am I going to teach? And you incorporate your modalities into what you're teaching, and that's what you're looking for. So there's your arc for becoming a spiritual coach. And I'll have more on this as the time goes on and weeks go on. And just because we need spiritual leaders more than ever now. That is the key to it all. Spiritual leaders are needed as this awakening continues to happen. It's happening at quantum leaps now. And We need those who have awakened, who are steady in their vibration, to step up and move forward. I'll see you guys in the next video.